Hey, thanks for watching this and hello on Mother's Day here in 2025. I am so thankful you're here, and I want to encourage you in case you're frustrated or just running out of juice, running out of motivation. Really, what you need to be doing is getting back on track. And I want to share some ways that I've done that in the past to get myself moving when I feel like I've run out of gas, run out of energy, and that everything I'm doing is just leading to the same place, which is nowhere. So what I used to have to do, maybe I'm a little bit like you, is I had to take courses or read books in order to get some knowledge for some sort of position that I was wanting to get into. And in order to do that, the reason I had to do that is because this knowledge or technology or language or platform or stack, whatever it is that I had to learn, whatever you're learning right now, they were things that you couldn't just pick up just by looking at. And I'm not a genius, and maybe you're not, maybe you are, but as a non-genius type, I have to go out and I have to spend some time figuring things out on my own and doing projects and really, quote unquote, hands-on learning, watching someone do it and then doing it for myself several times. The problem with that, though, is I would always get sort of frustrated and impatient with myself because it would take so long for me to learn something. I was giving the example to one of my clients this weekend, who one of my clients has been a little discouraged lately, and I really care for him. I want him to succeed. And sometimes the best thing that I feel like I can do is just say, it's okay. You're going to do okay, as long as you don't get too discouraged. And then I'll share my experience with him. One of the times that I was trying to do something, it took me such a long time. In fact, I wanted to get some sort of certification. I won't share what that was, but it's a very difficult certification for a lot of people to get. And so for most people probably, especially if you're not in that space. So coming from a non-expert in this area, I try to jump in and get a certification in this area. So I'm coming from outside, almost like I'm switching jobs in tech. That's how different it was for me from my normal, regular programming job. So I went to a boot camp, a 1-week boot camp. It was a really quick training. And I took a test and I failed. So that I went back and studied. And of course, I'm going to try again. I failed again. And by that time, I'm like, okay, should I do it a third time? But the good news was that I knew that I had increased my scores in certain areas of that test. And so I knew I could probably brush up on just the other areas. And so I did that, and I took the test and I failed a third time. I then realized that the third time I had increased the scores that were lower before, but the scores that were higher before it went down. And so there were like 4 or 5 areas in total, and 2 went up and 2 went down, or something like that. So I had regressed in some areas and progressed in other areas. So after 3 tests, I said, I'm going to do it again. And the 4th test I took, guess what? I still did not pass. And so by this time, it's about 8 months later. And it was like $180 each time I took it, maybe $150. And I had to drive to take the test. This was not online. This was right before COVID. And actually, right, my 5th test I took, and I'll tell you why I took that, but the 5th test I took was right when COVID had started. And why did I take the 5th test after 4 failures? Well, by then, I knew that my scores were going up and I was learning. And I knew that I kept learning new things. I would go over the Coursera course. Actually, I used Simply Learn. Simply Learn was the platform, and it's SIMPLI Learn, not SIMPLY Learn. So Simply Learn was the platform I was using. And then I think I also purchased some other course, but I remember taking the courses and the practice exams when I took them, I knew that I was learning new things. So I knew that was a good thing. Even before the 5th test, I was still learning some things. And as I reviewed the other parts of the exam in the practice exams, I knew I was increasing in those scores. So a very interesting thing happened before I took the 5th test. See, most people, I don't know about most people. Let me back up. Maybe it's like you, where if you try to learn something new and you don't pass the test, or you don't even feel like you're good enough to take the test, it's kind of a quitting point, because you're thinking, I don't know if I'll ever get past the test. It just seems daunting and overwhelming. But once you take the test, you get some feedback as to your skills. You get some feedback as to what you've been trying to learn. Some real feedback, even under pressure. That sort of feedback is very valuable. And if you can stick with it to realize you went from ground zero to taking the test and then failing the test in certain areas, or maybe the whole thing, all areas you failed, you went from ground zero to something. So you know that you're learning how to learn something. That should propel you on to take the next test if you can afford it. And I think you should put in money to take it. Again, once you take that second test, if you haven't passed that, that's still not a quitting point unless they don't let you. In some areas of expertise, they don't let you take more than 1 or 2 tests. And then after that second test, if you've gone up in scores, what you can say to yourself is, well, I know I'm continuing to learn new things. I'm getting better, so I might as well keep trying. If you've gone down in your scores, what you need to do is go back and examine the way you're studying. So you can learn something from every single test that you take. I learned something new, not just about the tech stack I was learning about or testing for. I learned something new about how I studied and how I needed to change the way I studied from taking all these tests. And so I think after you take your first test, a lot of people, I got to stop saying most people because I don't know most people. I just know a few people. The few people I've talked to, they either give up or they think they're going to get a job right after the first test. And that's the other thing. A lot of people who ace an exam think that they'll get a job and they don't, and then they give up. But some people who take the test, fail, take another test, fail, and then even take more tests, kind of like me, in my experience. What those types of people have learned is persistence, and that applies to the job. And also some humility comes when you fail tests. You realize you may not get a job even once you get the certification. And that brings with it an attitude of, I've got to stick with this. Over and over and over, I have seen and talked to, and I will say I think I've talked to 300 people who are trying to switch into a tech career. Since 2020, I've talked to that many people. And it includes, I would say, 250 of those people at least were half-hour or longer conversations on the phone or Zoom. And 50 others probably were long conversations in chat. Of all those people, it seems most of those people that I've talked to are giving up before they take the test or after they take the test because they didn't get a job after they passed the first test. The people that I have met who have found success, however, have failed some tests, and they've learned how to persist in taking more tests and then passing. And that skill has been the number one skill that I've seen in people that gets them jobs. Not the skill of doing the stuff, but the skill of pursuing something with a hope, with passion, and with some sort of plan to keep going every single week, no matter what. That, I'm telling you, my friend, that's why I'm doing these videos, is to help people like you, if you're still watching, to know that it's right of you to keep watching things like this, to keep learning how to persist, to keep putting down in your life some guardrails to keep you going and motivations to keep you going. I really love it when people persist and succeed. What I don't like is talking to someone who's so smart, and a lot of people I talk to are very intelligent, but everything has come easy for them, and they give up quickly, or they just think they never need any help at all, and then they just give up. It's almost like, if I can't do this easily, I'll just give up. And sometimes that's been me, to be honest. Sometimes things that have come easy for me, I just haven't put a lot of effort into those things, and I haven't been successful. So I want to give you some encouragement by giving you this video, and I want to give you a little tip here at the end as a bonus for watching this long, all of almost 11 minutes at this point, I think. The bonus is really, if you go down to the link down below, I'll have it here in the description of the video, and you reach out to me on Instagram, and I'm almost never on there, except a lot of people are on Instagram, so I use that for communications. I want to send you something about persistence and how to persist, and how I tell my clients to persist, and I hope that'll be helpful for you if you're lacking some sort of plan for that. A little hint for it is, it may include things like paper. So a little low tech. It's pretty high tech in the span of history. But it is something that's a little low tech that might kind of surprise you. But if you're in your 40s, 50s, 30s, maybe. If you're in your 40s or 50s, this will be very, very common for you. I do have other ways to change your mind about persisting, and I think I will swing you over some information to help you with that. I hope that's helpful to you. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you. And if you wouldn't mind, if you did like it, please like it. And if you have any comments, positive or negative, would you put them down below so I can learn about what you thought about this? It'll help the algorithm too to get to more people. So you're helping others. If this was helpful, like it, and other people who need the help can find it. We'll talk to you later. And I want to say to you, if you're a mother, happy Mother's Day. And also, it's not too late to reach out to your mom or the mother of your children and just say happy Mother's Day. Good night.